Hi guys, this is Paul with Tweaktown. We're back here at Flash Memory Summit 2014, sitting down with Scott Shadley. He is the Senior Manager of Enterprise Storage Marketing at Micron. So Scott, it's been a really busy year for you guys. I think one of the most impressive things about Micron, of course, is vertical integration. You guys make your own products as a fab. You definitely have an advantage. So if you could kind of talk and show us some of these vertically integrated products that you have, and we'll just chat about them as we go.
Well, certainly. So thank you again for having us here, Paul. It's always great to sit down with you guys. It's a great site, great reviews, so it's always a pleasure to have fun with you guys. Yeah. So basically what we've got here is just a nice pretty view of all of our different products that we're actually offering out today in the way of both the modularized, which is really what's innovating in Flash today, and then the traditional drive-like form factors. One of the keys that's really become of note here at Flash Memory Summit this year is the real adoption of the M.2 form factor. Mm-hmm. So we were also, we partook in the definition of these guys, so you have something anywhere from the 2280, which can be single or double-sided, all the way down to the 2260 for the Ultrabooks. All the fancy new Ultrabooks are now going to the thinner form factor. One thing that's very unique about the M.2 form factor, and one thing that Micron's been able to help from an innovation point of view, is we recently won Semiconductor of the Year award for our Semiconductor Product of the Year award for our 16nm Flash, which is enabled with this M.2 form factor. We're able to get higher capacity, higher density, and still give you a more bang for your buck, since we tend to run out of capacity in our Ultrabooks nowadays.
How do you feel that 16nm is competing with 3D NAND? I know there's a lot of noise around 3D NAND right now, and I know Micron, of course, has that in the works. But for now, you guys feel that 16nm is the path forward. How do you? Can you give us a few words on that?
Yeah, sure. So there's a couple of dynamics that go to the 3D NAND perspective, and one of it is the Moore's Law scaling of the planar cell. Micron innovated a new way of doing the planar cell at our 25nm, which we got rid of the floating gate and made it planar. It allowed for scaling to continue. When you look at it going from planar to vertical, I mean, Micron did announce in 2011 that we were in 3D. We even showed pretty pictures of it here at FMS. Yeah. But the cost of transition is really what's more important to our customers and to the real user, right? At the end of the day, we finally got people so used to wanting to use Flash, they're no longer worried about the media. It's really cost, price, performance.
Absolutely.
And to convert a fabrication facility from planar to three-dimensional silicon means there's an expensive cost involved. And you can see that because right now on the open market, our 16nm NAND product is selling at an ASP in a drive form factor for less than any of the competitive VNAND products.
You guys have really good price points. The MX100 is...
The MX100 is a perfect example.
Very good. And it has good performance.
Yeah. So by doing that and taking that extra notch and being the only guy right now with a sub 20nm design, we weren't forced to make that early adopter jump into 3D. 3D is great, we can do it, we've got it now, we've got parts that are available. We will have a 3D SSD out in 2015 when it's ready and needs to be added to the marketplace to keep up with those curves.
You guys have kind of refreshed some of your products. I know we used to kind of have the go-to is the P400M for the enterprise SSD, and we recently tested the M500 DC, and for at its price point, it really has a lot of advantages. It's got really strong right performance. Can you tell us a little bit about the M500 DC?
Yeah, so the M500 DC, we've got it in two different form factors, which is actually beneficial because the 1.8 seems to have truly gone away if you look at it from a laptop perspective, and the enterprise market's always followed a laggard, if you will, of they let the notebook guys figure out form factors and then they adopt them. But 1.8 actually still has viability in a lot of the enterprise sockets and even some embedded sockets. So it's one of the few drives that's still out there in the 1.8. On the 2.5-inch side, we've kept with the 7mm footprint, so the nice thin, streamlined performance perspective. And M500 DC data center, yes, a lot of DCs that are out there now, was purpose-built with the idea of hitting this endurance, right performance trade-off and the cost sensitivity that's associated with it. So while some of the other vendors have had to release multiple products across multiple footprints to be able to compete, our one design is actually able to take replace several of those sockets with a single drive.
And it has really strong performance in a lot of different workloads, and that's one thing that we were very impressed with. As a matter of fact, we gave it an award because it deserves it. How are you getting reception? How is the reception with the hyperscale guys and in the data center?
So being purpose-built for the data center, of course, that was our key first targets, and I can successfully say that we have at least one US-based, one Chinese-based, and one Asia or European-based hyperscale data center customer for this product, shipping in volume today. So we've had some very good success of being able to get a lot of these parts off the shelf.
That's good. So we have the coverage in kind of the mobile applications and M.2 moving into the data center. When do you feel that M.2 will move into the data center? And do you think that they'll leverage primarily NVMe or AHCL?
So the big buzz here at the show is definitely the concept of NVMe. Micron is very much involved with the NVMe process. We've been a founding member of the NVMe Express organization, participated in the booth activities here even for that. So we do have our NVMe products coming out. We're going to start on the high-end performance side. We're really good at that. Our P320, our P420M are excellent at that. So we'll be releasing an NVMe card and 2.5-inch drive early next year for customers to play with. And then from an M.2 perspective, there are certainly a couple of very early adopters. You've got the guys that are going way out front trying to do some really creative stuff. That'll be probably shipping an M.2 NVMe PCIe product this time next year. Okay. So we'll have the product when it's ready. We're looking to have a 2015 time frame for an M.2 PCIe as it makes sense to bring it to our customers.
Excellent. So, and over here, when we're looking for the ultimate performance, when you're looking to really get them right, heavy write workloads and more data center on the high end, you have a 2.5-inch form factor. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this is the lovely product that we were able to introduce with Dell as the pilot customer for it. They're the only ones today still shipping an in-volume server with this SFF8639 connector. So we were involved with Dell from a perspective of being the early adopter into that platform, their Fluid Cache platform that's on all their R730s and 830 platforms. And we're also heavily involved with the standards bodies around it. So that's one of the reasons why we were able to get that early look.
And 8639 is kind of like the Swiss Army knife of connectors. I mean, it could do anything, right?
So this 8639 can do SATA, SAS, and PCIe all in one edge connector. Yeah. So the pros are, it makes flexibility of backplane design for our customer base. There are some backwards compatibility. There are a couple of problematic pieces about it. There's only so much black plastic that we have to put gold fingers on. Yeah. So our PCIe drives are capable, we're one of the only drives out there with a by 8 PCIe. This form factor actually limits us to a by 4 infrastructure. So when we release our NVMe product, we'll actually be almost bandwidth limited when it comes to being able to put it in this form factor.
Excellent. And kind of more of a, I know it sounds odd to say PCIe seems more of a traditional design, but when we're coming into this type of product, it is probably deployed a lot more than 2.5-inch. Can you tell us a little bit about your P420M?
Yeah, so both of the P420M and the 2.5, which is starting to gain traction, and as well the most popular, as you pointed out, is still half height, half length, mainly because, again, there aren't platforms that can support the newer interface today.
Backplanes.
The backplanes. You'll also notice that it's, as we got out of form factor to get into cards perspective, and now people are asking us to go back, there's a limiting factor on drive form factor capacity points. We have half as much board space, so the half height, half length is still going to have a viable spot in the market moving forward, just from a, if anything else, a sheer capacity play perspective. So when you start looking at our next generation products, you're going to see some very impressive capacity capabilities out of these form factors.
And I think with both the P320H is probably still one of the best PCIe SSDs on the planet because it's SLC, it's ridiculously good. And then the P420M, it kind of comes in and fills in that role, and it still gives the highest random read performance of any PCIe SSD that I've had in my hands. Right. I test them all. And now, of course, the question has to come, when are we going to see the NVMe variants and the next generation from Micron?
So we'll be pushing those to customers end of this year, early next year for kind of engineering engagement samples, and you'll see a press release later in the year of 15, and we'll make sure that you're part of that.
Excellent. Yes, I'm always putting you on the spot.
I love it. It's awesome.
So I know there's been some kind of changes internally in Micron that have kind of breathed some new life into you guys. Can you give us some words on that?
Yeah, so we've had a little bit of a restructure take place. We've brought in some new management. The corporate level of Micron actually rearranged how we're doing the business versus engineering engagements, which is a benefit to all of our customers because we get more focus on the business side as well as the engineering side because we're not trying to have engineers replicate across our business units. As we did that, we brought in a new gentleman, Darren Thomas. He's a Dell Enterprise Storage VP that has left and has now come and joined us at Micron, and he's running our storage business unit. And that includes all of our flash-based products, whether it be component, SSDs, and beyond. And so he was actually just in Hong Kong at our analyst event over there, introducing himself to the world and making sure everybody knew it. And talked about, highlighted some of the what we're going to be seeing from Micron moving forward as far as storage technologies in both flash and beyond.
Well, that's good to hear. And you guys, your next big event is probably going to be VMworld, right?
Yep, we'll be in San Francisco in a couple of weeks. We've actually got a nice little presence there. We've got some fun banner ads that are going to be going up. It should draw some fun attention to the booth and talk about how we support and benefit from an overall Micron footprint, the VMware platform, because we also have our DRAM aspect of the company that we don't talk about a lot when we see each other. And we've actually, we're going to be presenting a session where we talk about being able to optimize DRAM and flash in a VMware environment.
And also you guys have DDR4 already.
And DDR4 is already shipping,
Yes, it's going out, so you guys are moving fast.
Yep.
All right, well, it's good to hear good things going on over there, Scott, and I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure having you.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Paul.